YouTube, Ronin Kaze. It's a hat and a headset day. The game you're going to see in the background is me running legendary Tidal Basin. It's a really good group. I doubled the speed. I'm going to take you from, this is like maybe 2 zones from the end. But on this channel, over the past month or so, I've sung the praises of Linux gaming and, you know, the benefits of switching over from Windows 10 to Linux. And I never really tell you the bad stuff. I told you a couple times I did some things and I ended up, you know, having to reformat a hard drive or whatever. An ongoing problem that I've had is, and I don't know if this is Steam for Windows and Linux, but I've run into it with Linux. My external drive, it'll let the games be loaded onto it, but it won't let the games write, won't let Steam write to the drive, which doesn't really make any sense. So one of the things that people said to do was edit your /etc/fstab file. This is one of the negatives of Linux, YouTube. Device management of hard drives is going to be an important thing as we add, you know, they recently read an article where 1 terabyte's not enough, you need to have 2 terabytes. And I can see that, you know, me doing this channel, I need to load games on there and have access to them and put them in the rotation, or I could just show you one game over and over and over and over, and I'd rather not do that. So we've pushed pretty far forward, so I've never really done this consistently where we push forward, but this group was a push forward group. You've heard me talk about sometimes not pushing forward. And if you could like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, maybe buy me an energy drink, because I've had a dumpster fire of a day, YouTube. So it had gotten to the point, I have a terabyte main drive for my Linux distribution. I have 100 gigabytes left. I wanted to download Fallout 76. I downloaded it to my 2 terabyte plug-in drive and can't see it. I can load it there, but it won't fire up. Permissions problem. And so I hesitantly, after looking up a bunch of times, tried to make a edit to my /etc/fstab file. And not knowing enough about Linux, right? So I'm not a power user by any stretch of imagination. Not really a power user in Windows, but, you know, I can get the games to load and all that stuff. I'd say a little bit more than... Right, I had to do this on industrial computers and install and format and do things for industrial computers. Not the same as a gaming system, but whatever. So I edit it, I reboot it, and then my system last night goes into error default, goes in emergency. Gosh, we can't load. Now, I could have put a don't stop thing in that, but I didn't realize why that you would have to make a don't stop on error thing, because it'll mess up your system. But I understand why they have that command now. Why don't you just make it so the disks just work? This is what I'm going to explain to you about Linux. And for those of you that are proponents of Linux, this is the problem with Linux. It's great. It's the same software, could be used as a server, and it has the permissions that I'm going to let 1 million people, I'm going to have groups and all that stuff. But if you're ever going to be a desktop software, you're going to make it so I can add external devices. Not great fan of Mac, it just works with a Mac. Not great fan of Windows, just works with Windows. But Linux, it doesn't work, because I understand you have a lot of permissions, and then you might have to, it won't automatically auto-mount it and add it to your etc. fstab file. Won't do it automatically. And this is just one of those areas where it's deficient, right? It's not ready for prime time. Now, if you're a normal gamer, you're not making content all the time, then it's good. So the solution was, hey, just put in your thumb drive, your live version USB, and then, edit. So in my mind, I'm going to open up that live version, mount my main drive, and then I'm going to edit out that line and etc. fstab. Now Google. Once I do that, burn ISO and did that. Then when I got in there, the file was empty. It was gone. I don't know enough, like, did it save it automatically in the background somewhere? Is there some, I don't know that. So I'm like, mess. Okay, I'll just bite the bullet and reformat everything and just reinstall it. So in Kaze has a nice thing where, you can do all these choices. Well, I install it into the same area it was. It doesn't do a fresh restall. What it does, it just kind of overwrites, and if there's stuff there, it just leaves it. So I keep getting this problem, even though I've written Kaze in there, right, in the same spot. There's the other thing at the bootloader. In Windows, you just have one bootloader. In Linux, you have several bootloaders. So I kept getting the same error, and I said, hey, load this other bootloader that I know has worked on my other systems. Nope, didn't do it. So then I get the bright idea, which I've done before. Now I've given my other two 32 gigabyte USB thumb drives to my friend to explore using Kaze OS. So I only have one. So I go, okay, let me put on Mint and I'll try Mint for a month. I don't like Cinnamon, and I don't like the other Fakakta thing that it has for its window manager. And I'm not big. If I'm going to use Ubuntu, I might as well just use Ubuntu. So I load that up. It writes grub as my bootloader. So now, whenever my system boots up, it boots into grub and it fails immediately. So then I got to go into BIOS, say, load this other EIDOS, maybe that's what it's called, whatever it is. And then I can get to my Kaze installation. But I deleted and rewrote that USB, 10 times on my little handheld. Probably should have got out my laptop, or one of my laptops has Kaze, and just did it there. And then I have to plug in keyboards into my, right? And there is a person, I saw their post, they had a thing where this is mutable. So this installation is, you can make changes to it. An immutable installation is like an Xbox, right? You can't just keep doing updates. It's patching itself every lot longer. You're not really messing with the operating system. Bazerite is immutable. So there's some benefits for that, but I can also see where if my stuff's not loaded, if there's software I want, right? There's just too many trade-offs. I want to be able to load whatever I want when I want. I want to be able to screw up my ETC fstab. I don't want to do it YouTube. So now I'm spending time, right, worrying about the road instead of playing games. So what's the solution? Well, I know how to use computers. Obviously, I don't. I know how to use a computer, so I don't want to have to take a course. And I want it to just work when I add additional capacity to it. I want it to, if I'm the main user. So that's where we're at today. So I'm half back where I was, and that took a full work day. It's like it was a work day, YouTube. In the final stage, I always go to it's a vial jammer, about 80% reduction to yellows. Makes me a lot more tanky, but I throw out a decoy and I jam, the dogs and the drones, and I can pick people up. It's a great build. This was a really good group. Nice mix of everything. So what am I going to tell you about Linux? Yes, the majority of my computers, this one computer I have, I could, it has a Windows 10. I could upgrade to Windows 10 and I go back to Windows 11, but I just have the same problem where everything's getting, everything I told you like before. The only thing that's different is it can manage the disks. Why can't we do that in 2025? Now, I know what fanboys would say. You just don't know how. You don't lift, bro. Works in the other stuff. Why do I got to worry about that? So I'll reload everything. I would like to get my external hard drive working. I have another area of partition on an internal drive that I formatted that in FAT32, NTFS, EXT4, and whatever the BT, whatever that one is. None of them could be read. You don't have permissions. So that's kind of the difference. And that's what I'd like to tell you about some stuff. You're going to have this problem no matter what in Linux. So there's some things you may have to learn to use. Now, you may have enough space, and if you're a normal user, you never run into this problem. Why am I running into this problem? Because I'm constantly every video's like, depending on what I use to record it, it's between 1 and 5 gigabytes. And every program's like 100 gigabytes. So I'm putting programs on, games on. So I just need the space. I have the space, but I'm incompetent on how to use it. So I apologize for being frosty. In a different life, this would be fine. In a different life, I'd be like everyone else and say, well, I don't have enough, bye-bye game, I don't play that much. Let me put on this other game. When I loaded Linux Mint, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the file. I don't like Cinnamon. I don't like it. I loaded Cosmic. When I reloaded this next one, I said, let me put Cosmic on there to see. Cosmic is like the one that's in Zornos. That stunk too. Right, I really like KDE. It's very customizable. I'm an old codger. I can make it bigger so I can see. So I like CatchyOS. It's fast. It's on every other thing I own. It's just I'm having this problem with other storage. And for gall darn YouTube, I'm not going to touch that ETC fstab. I'd make a backup of it, obviously. That's what I should have done. I'm a little cavalier, right? I know enough to be dangerous, and I'm exactly the person that they warn against, right? I've warned you against people like me before, YouTube. I think it's still worthwhile, so that's what I'm going to say. I'm not happy with it today. So you're getting a couple day-old footage because I had to spend all day doing that instead of playing games, YouTube. Oh. The Mac doesn't play every game. Windows lets you just get Mugambi'd by every corporation. Linux, it's okay if you have the right, setup, hardware. You're not going to get through this life without having to learn stuff, YouTube. That's what I'm going to tell you. That's the lesson for me today. And there's all the AI in the world. I wish you could have seen all the searches. Nope, there's just, nope. No, I mean... So I don't know if in Catchy, if the Steam is through like something like a package, like a separate package, like a flat pack. And they've said that there's a certain command, if you flat pack it, you might have to put a command to let Steam see. It sees the external disk. I can add it in Steam as a destination. I've loaded games in Steam. but when I go to run the game, it doesn't work for multiple games. It says I do not have permissions. I choned it, change ownership. I did that. I was like, oh, this is easy. I should have done that before. No, you too. So your boy is on the outs today, YouTube. Into everyone's life a little rain must fall, and it's pouring over here. So this is Ronin Kaze, shaken but not stirred yet. And you see I'm resin people. I think I went down once, but I'm going to cook on those legendaries for sure. This is Ronin Kaze out, still trying to fix my problems.